Welcome to Electric Vitality Unplug with your health coach, Christina Leo. Join us each week as we explore strategies with antioxidant negative ions to keep our bioelectric body strong, ensuring a vibrant and dignified life well into our golden years. Hi, everybody. This is Christina Leo, and welcome to Electric Vitality Unplug, episode 12. And we continue on our anion or negative ion product showcase today. And let's get right to it. So as I mentioned previously, we will talk about different product lines. And today we're going to talk about how to protect your body with undergarments. And let's see why I titled it that way. Okay. So as a general disclaimer, everything you hear is for your informational purposes only. Always work with your healthcare professional for your own specific health issues, because no two people are alike. So your health issue needs to be addressed by a licensed professional. And as part of the transparency, I am an authorized distributor of Neffel USA. So you could pause this to read about my biography, but in general, I have been a marketing leader or at the AGM level with Neffel USA for a good number of years since 2015. But I have been using Neffel products since 2009. So it's been a long time, and I am so grateful for what this product has done for me. In addition to sharing the wonderful benefit of Neffel's products, I'm also a meditation instructor as well, because my goal is to help people be empowered to first take responsibility for their own health, and that be confident that they could improve their own health if they understand how to take care of themselves. And so that's my mission. And I hope that the presentation in these series would be beneficial to you as well. And let's see. Okay. So as I mentioned, today we will talk about how to protect your body with undergarment. This is the November focus, which is on Anion product showcase. So let's get back to the basic question. Why do we wear clothing, right? Um, you know, we have a caveman picture here, and you can see that, from the get-go, we wear clothes for multiple reasons. First and foremost is actually protection. So it's primarily to shield our body, shield our physical body away from elements such as, the sun, the rain, cold weather, or the wind. And it also creates a barrier between our skin and the external potential, things like rough surfaces or insect bites or any harmful substances from coming into our body. So first and foremost is really for protection. And then, of course, modesty, right? Society norm is that we should cover up our private parts, for privacy reasons. So even this caveman's got him, his bottom half covered, right? And the third is functionality. There's different types of clothing for specific activities. So there's clothes that you wear for work, right? Work gears, and then there's athletic wear when you do sports, and then there's medical uniforms that doctors wear. And then the fourth function is really kind of a social identity, which signifies your roles or your status and affiliation in society, because we are human beings are communal animals, right? So for different purposes like religion, sports, or just a general uniform, that, let's say, an organization kind of have people wear. And then there's the last but not least is really a self-expression. Fashion allows individual to present themselves to society in a certain way to present their personality, their mood, their belief, and their own creativity. So that's why we wear clothing. And let's take a look at why specifically we talk about wearing anion or negative ion clothing, right? So let's go back and understand those five key criteria in relation to neuron negative ion clothing. Okay, first and foremost, protection, right? Clothing not only provides us the protection against elements, but in amnion clothing, it actually keep us warm and comfortable because it has great heat insulation property. Therefore, it can maintain our body temperature really well. And then it doesn't absorb any moisture. Therefore, it could wick away moisture or sweat produced from our body. So then it keeps our body comfortable. And then the second thing is the modesty. So not only like the undergarment that we wear, right? Undershirt, underwear, not only does it cover and keep, our private area, you know, away, as a social norm, right? But then they also keep those areas warm and dry to prevent infections such as yeast infection or like bladder infection that could be due to moisture buildup. That's really, really important. And I've had customer telling me that ever since they started wearing Nephil underwear, they hardly ever had any feminine issues. And I've heard men coming back and saying how wonderful it is to prevent, like, they don't have jock itch because the negative ion clothing keeps those areas really nice and dry. And then the third is functionality, as because the neuron fiber constantly generates negative static and negative ions. So when we wear it in contact with our skin, it consistently produce those healthy benefit that our body absorbs. And then I will explain how that actually work. And then, like the fourth one is social identity. The neuron negative ion clothing takes a very long time to produce. So each product takes anywhere from 120 to 180 days to produce. Okay, I'm talking about a single product from raw material to finishing. And that's due to the complexity in the manufacturing process. It's very labor intensive, and because of the static necessary to build into the fiber, the static will actually causes the machine to jam up very easily. And causes the machine to malfunction. So that's why the production cycle is so long. And also everything is produced in Japan. That's why the pricing point it's tend to be a little bit higher. So I would categorize it as in the pricing point goes from mid to high level pricing point, which is really suitable for those definitely having the economic means, but also for those that prioritize health and longevity as well. I mean, we do have people that may not have the economic means, but then because of Nephil's unique kind of a bonus plan, it allows them to actually eventually be able to afford or purchase these products. Um, so, in terms of social identity, it's, because of the limited quantity as well, it's really not even sometimes even when you have money, you can't even buy it because the product is, sold out very quickly. And then last but not least is the self-expression. Um, we start with the undergarment always, right? And we go inside out. But the outerwear and the custom design clothing expand the function from undergarments to outward expressions of our own style and personality. So that makes amnion clothing really, really different than just any ordinary clothing. And it's a durable product because the ability to generate negative ion never expires. So it's not a fast fashion type of clothing that creates mounds of problem in landfills because people wear it once and twice and they toss it out, right? So we could go into, I will do another episode actually specifically on the idea of wearing durable clothing that's environmentally friendly, and yet at the same time, it's a wearable that gives you all those wonderful benefits that we seek from clothing. So let's go to the next slide here. So as I mentioned, layering is really the key. So we start from the inside out. So as you can see here, we start with the undergarment, but ultimately you can wear as many layer as your body can. It's just like, the picture on the right is me wearing a pajama made from the blanket, right? So and the amazing feeling wearing that is just unbelievable. So the more layered, the stronger the static electricity and the more negative ions. Therefore, the better and the quicker the health effect for our body. Okay. So I think I want to always kind of drill into the understanding that the more you have, actually, the better it is to allow our body to do all those wonderful things that negative ion can do for us. Okay. So the neuron fiber that's woven into all these articles of clothing gives you excellent heat insulation. So it gives you warmth, doesn't absorb moisture, it gives you comfort, and it generates extensive amount of negative static electricity and negative ions. So it gives you health. And then it doesn't burn easily. So it gives you a wonderful kind of a safety product to wear. I often think about firemen should really wear our product because they're so exposed to um, the elements when they fight fires. But it's not it's a fire retardant product, and I have to emphasize. Okay. So I want to talk about one thing that's important. I mean, a little bit of the science, but then it gives you um understanding as well as confidence in the neuron's ability to do the wonderful things for us. Okay. It's the concept of what we call tribal electricity. So here's a little girl in the ball pit, and her hair is flying all over, right? So we know that that's static electricity that's usually generated when materials rub against each other, and then electron transfer from one to the other. So it would become kind of imbalance where one might be negatively charged and the other one's positively charged due to the gaining or losing of electrons. And that's what it's called a tribal electricity. So another example is like a kid sliding down a slide. The friction between the child's body and the slide, right, led to electron transfer. So the buildup on the body create the static electricity. So the hair like stands up and have the same charge because they repel each other and cause them to you know, you know, stand up and spread out. Okay. So it's always a very interesting to see that happen. I saw that when my kids were little, I taking them to the park, and that's what happens. So the neuron, as I mentioned, right? If you have followed all of the previous episode as well, I mentioned often is that neuron is exclusive to nephil and it generate negative static electricity through friction. And then, when there's a strong enough buildup, through this friction, actually electrons will actually fly out and combine with oxygen in the air and becomes oxygenated negative ions. So it's negatively charged. And then we breathe it in, our skin absorbs it. It has to be in close proximity. Because when that happens, your body needs to really absorb it for its benefit. So it enters our body and, through our skin, and then, it gives us all of the benefit, the electrical voltage that our cell actually all 60 to 100 trillions of cells needs. Okay. So back to this tribal electricity. So they actually have a series that's published. This is just a short one, which shows, when two things rub together, right? Which one tend to gain electron, which one tend to lose electrons. So as you can see here, if you go up, okay, materials. So going from neutral, right? Cotton here, and then as you move up, right? All of these material tend to lose electrons. And you can see that human skin actually is one of the ones that easily loses electrons. So if you're wearing something against your skin and you rub it, your skin actually will lose electrons. Okay. And then if you go downwards and you can see these are the material that tend to gain electrons. So neuron is a form of PVC, so it will tend to gain electrons. That's why neuron is a synthetic material for and then it's the way it's made, it has a tendency to gain electrons. And we've seen um, charts from from the company that shows that neuron always generate negative ions. So as you can see, we look at it from a different perspective, as in electron takers and and uh, and electrons givers. So if we're to look at what neuron does, is when we wear neuron actually supplies, from its, ability to generate negative static charge, it actually supplies a lot of electrons to our body just through this process of us wearing on against our skin, because the human skin tend to lose electrons, whereas neuron is constantly supplying. And the human skin actually has a low, what they call breakdown voltage of about 500 volts. So which allowed the charges to actually penetrate the skin. And this is based on a research paper called the tribal electricity of the human body, that talked about the nuances of tribal electricity against the human skin. So when it has a low voltage point of 500 volts, that means if you have a buildup of higher, right, it will allow the electrical charge to penetrate the skin. So that's an important point to note. Okay, and I was actually very amazed when I was reading this paper that it talked about that. So that's why wearing the neuron negative ion clothing is so beneficial to us. And the product was original fiber was invented back in 1956. So we're on to second generation fiber and has been marketed by uh, Neffel for 51 years. But then its original manufacturing of the product is, since 1956. So it's really amazing, has given so many probably millions of people wonderful health benefits. So the undergarments, and there's really kind of four major categories that because sometimes when you look at the catalog, you might get confused, like, okay, what are the difference between all of these? So I would start from like kind of like the thinnest one to like the thickest one. So the thinnest one is really the classic collection, which is in the bottom here. And so that one has I think it's about 80% neuron fiber. So it's on the thinner side, but it's very close to the skin. And the next level up is the Gentle and Soft collection, which is this series, which it's my personal favorite. And then we go to the Comfort collection and then the Thermal collection. The Thermal collection is the product line that's the strongest and the warmest. And I sleep in this set and it's so comfortable at night. Um, and then the undergarment is really, let's say the underwear series. And I'm not going to go through all of the available product, but primarily, the underwear is very important. And there's different styles from, low cut to mid cut to high rises. It's just to suit the personal preferences. But the inside touching your skin, it's I believe it's at least 80 to 100% neuron. Usually, I think it's 100% neuron. But you should look at the catalog to see what the inner materials are. And then it's not just for the women, there's the men's line and then also the children's line as well. So the undergarment it's very, very important because it's our base layer, it's the layer that touches our skin. So I kind of did a little, graphical explanation on how we typically when we get started, how do we actually use, wear the product. So you start with the base layers, which is the underwear and undershirt, right? So that's to me it's a prerequisite. I mean, there's no if and what can I do something else unless you go, in your birthday suit, meaning butt naked, right? And then go into like the blanket, which is totally fine, but I don't think you would walk out of a house without wearing any clothes, right? So it's really switching from something that you might be accustomed to wearing to changing to something that's a little bit different, which both are clothing, but then with neuron clothing, there are some specific important things that you need to be aware of, which is the base layer definitely needs to touch your skin. Otherwise, it doesn't give you the benefit when it, generate the negative ions. So you have the undershirt in this example, like a camisole and underwear, and then you could layer up short sleeve, short long pants, and then put on socks, supporters, long sleeve shirt, and then add the thermal wear at home, or if you go outside, you could wear the outerwear. And then the last but not least is when you go to sleep at night is wearing all of this and then go into the blanket. Ideally, if you could have a top and bottom, a blanket would be the best, but you could also do bed sheet and blanket on top. But either way, this is what we advise anyone getting started with the products to start using it this way because um, if you don't wear it correctly, you may not be able to gain the benefit that you're seeking for in investing in the product. Okay. So the whole idea is to mimic the whole waterfall effect, to get as much negative ion into your body, and in as long of duration as possible. So the amnion benefit, I've done specific episodes on each one of these of, purifying the blood, regulate your autonomic nervous system, enhance your body's immune system, as well as rejuvenating your cells. All of this is so important when we wear, kind of like the entire collection. I mean, we could have our own preferences, like, as I mentioned, the different innerwear, you might like a certain one better than others. But the thing is to stick to the principle of wearing against your skin, the principle of wearing in layers, the principle of wearing it, the 5Ds that I talked about. And then, you could choose, once you understand how to properly wear them, then you could customize it the way you want it. Because the key thing is, as long as you get the fiber touching your skin and also having layers, that's the main thing. And rest assured that the product has been out for a very, very long time and people have gained wonderful benefit from it. Um, and then, there's been lab proof that shows the neuron fiber generate a significant amount of negative ion and as well as negative, electrical voltage. Okay. And this is what I meant to share before is that, when you do a comparison of the static charge across the different materials, you can see that neuron is consistently generating negative charge, no matter what material it comes in contact with, it's always the giver. So as I mentioned before, the 5Ds is density, which is layering, wearing it, night and day, and then having direct contact with the skin, wash with all natural, preferably Nephil detergent, and drink, 8 to 10 cups of water to allow your body this process of repairing and detoxing. The washing instruction, you could pause the video to take a look, but in essence is the product does not like heat. So you want to avoid any heat source and then also use plant-based detergent to wash. Okay. So the key thing is to Nephil up. When you level up, um, it's amazing that, the more you have, the quicker you're going to feel the benefit and the quicker you're going to feel your health improve. And if you have less, then you have to compromise by giving it a little more time. Okay. So due to inflation and raw material costs and the product actually will see a price increase starting next year. So the inventory, will be at current price until sold out, and the new inventory will be at the new 2025 pricing. So I would highly advise if you haven't started to get started, and if you need help, I would be more than happy to assist you with that. And if someone refer you to watching this, definitely go back to them as well to see how you could get started. Okay. So the key thing is, we want to sleep out well every day and wake up energized. Like my older daughter here, when she was young, you can see that she's all wrapped up and she's very, very comfortable. Um, and then, what you want to do is get started today and be healthy and joyful, like my family. So I see this picture and I just have pure joy and gratitude in my heart that 15 years ago I decided to invest in Neuron negative ion clothing, and I haven't looked back since. And my health has been protected, by wearing these wonderful, wonderful, comfortable and clothing. Okay. And that's the end of the presentation. And anything you're not sure of, just go back and replay and slow it down. And we look forward to seeing you next time.